Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be working on part 2 of module 2 for practice test number 9. This is probably the hardest section of questions, so make sure you pay attention closely. Question 17 we're going to start on. We have two plots, Class A and Class B. So each of the dot plots shown represents the number of glue sticks brought by each student for two classes, Class A and Class B. Which statement best compares the standard deviation of the number of glue sticks brought in by each of these two classes? Okay, so with standard deviation, you need to remember it's simply just the spread of each of these data. They're spread evenly, so they're going to have the same standard deviation, even though the x values are different. The spread from the mean in each of the graphs are the same. So looking at our answer choices, the standard deviation of the number of glue sticks brought in by each student for Class A is less than, no, it's wrong. It's not less than the standard deviation for B. And then answer choice B, the standard deviation of the number of glue sticks brought in by each student for Class A is equal to the standard deviation of the number of glue sticks brought in by each student for Class B. That is correct. It's just a long question. I wouldn't even bother going through the other ones unless you do have time because they're very long answer choices. Question 18, we have this equation up here, and then we have the function m gives the predicted body mass m of t in kilograms kg of a certain animal t days after it was born in the wildlife reserve, where t is less than or equal to 390. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the statement m of 330 is approximately equal to 362 in this context? Okay, so you don't even have to do any math for this question. It gives you the meaning of the whole equation. All you need to work out is what it means in this context, 330 and 362. So we know that 330 is going to be the amount of days after it was born, and 362 is the number of kilograms it weighs. So the predicted body mass of the animal was approximately 330 kg. That's wrong. This needs to be days. The predicted body mass of the animal was 362 kg, which is correct. 330 days after it was born, so your answer choice is going to be B. Next question, 19. Triangle XYZ is similar to triangle RST such that X, Y, and Z correspond to RS and T respectively. The measure of angle Z is 20 degrees and 2XY is equal to RS. What is the measure of angle T? Okay, let's draw these triangles. So we have X, Y, and Z, and then we have R, S, and T. So we know that angle Z is 20 degrees, and we know that angle um, Z is 20 degrees. So I did this in kind of an opposite order. I wrote the angle for T first, um, when I should have written it for Z. So we have Z given to us, which is 20 degrees. And since the triangles are similar, T is also going to be 20 degrees. Now, this statement here is really unnecessary. It's just saying that the side length of XY is half of that of RS. So we just know that even though the triangles are similar, so they're going to have the same angles, this triangle on the right is going to have double the side length for each of its sides. So the answer here is simply just C, 20 degrees. Question 20, the function f of t is equal to 60,000 times 2 to the t over 410 gives the number of bacteria in a population t minutes after an initial observation. How much time in minutes does it take for the number of bacteria in the population to double? Well, if we want it to double, we need to have 2 to the power of 1, since 60,000 is the initial population, and to double it, we need to multiply it by 2, but this needs to be an exponential power of 1. So 1 is exponential power, and we set that equal to t over 410. So t is going to be equal to 410. and that's the amount of time it takes for the population to double. Question 21, the function f is defined by f of x is equal to a to the x plus b, where a and b are constants and a is greater than 0. In the xy plane, the graph of y equals f of x has a y-intercept at 0, negative 25, and passes through the point 2, comma 23. What is the value of a plus b? Okay, so from this problem, we can plug in these points. So we have f of 0 is equal to a to the 0, which is going to be 1, since anything to the 0 is 1, plus b is equal to negative 25. So we have 1 plus b is equal to negative 25. So we have b is equal to negative 26. Now the next step in this problem is to find a. So since we have b already, we can plug in the next point, 2 and 23. So we get f of 2 is equal to a to the 2 plus b, which is negative 26, and that's going to be equals to 23. So now we add 26 to both sides, and we get a to the power of 2 is equal to 49. And now we have a is equal to the square root of 49. And this is going to give us a is equal to 7. So this would actually be, sorry, a is equal to plus or minus square root of 49. This is equal to plus or minus 7. But since we have this part in the problem above, right here, a is greater than 0, we know that a is actually only going to be equal to positive 7. It can't be less than 0. So with that, we have a plus b is equal to 7 plus negative 26, which is going to give you negative 19. And that's your answer. Sorry, I changed fonts there. It's just this one's a little too bulky. So that would be your answer to that question. Now we have question 22. For which of the following tables are all the values of x and their corresponding values of y solutions to the given inequality? This is really just a plug and chug. You plug the values in and see if the inequality stays true. So for this, we have a y value of 21 and an x value of 3. So we have 21 is greater than 13 times 3 minus 18. So this would give us 21 is greater than, this would be 39 minus 18. 39 minus 18 is going to give you 21. So 21 is not greater than 21, so that A is incorrect. Now we're going to try B. Well, we just plugged in 3, and we know we get 21 on this side. And we know that 26 is greater than 21, so that's correct. Now we can try the next value. We have 42 is greater than 13 times 5 minus 18. For this, I'm just going to simply use my calculator to save some time. So 13 times 5 is equal to 65. And then we subtract 18, and we get 47. So here 42 is not greater than 47, and it's going to be the same for this because that's the same right here. This is also going to be incorrect, so our answer choice has to be D. You can plug and chug for D too to make sure, but only do that if you have extra time once again. Question 23. A certain town has an area of 4.36 square miles. What is the area in square yards of this town? So this is a stoichiometry problem. You're going to do conversions of units. So we have 4.36 square miles, so miles squared. And to get rid of the miles squared, we convert it to square yards. So we know that in every 1 mile, we have 1,760 yards. But we need to square both the top and bottom to get our units, because we have to square the actual value itself instead of just the unit. And then with this, miles will cancel out, and we get 4.36 times 1,760 squared. Those are just your straight up numbers for this. 1,760 squared is going to be, or times 4.36, it's going to be 13,505,536, which is answer choice D. Next, we have question 24. A square is inscribed in a circle. So let's draw this out first. We have a circle, and then we have a square that is inscribed in that circle. Not the best square, but it will do. And then the radius of the circle is 20 square root of 2 over 2, which is equal to just 10 square root of 2. What is the side length in inches of the square? So I drew the radius from here to here because that's the radius. You can't draw it from here to here because that wouldn't be the radius. It would be from here to here. But the reason for doing it to the corner of the square is so that is at an endpoint of the square and the circle. So I'm gonna now draw a triangle, and we know that this length is going to be shorter than that one. So this is the hypotenuse, and we know that we have our right triangle formula. These sides are going to be the same of x and x, and we can use Pythagorean's theorem to solve this, since we have x squared, or no, we cannot. But we do know that if this is x and this is x, then this will be x squared root of 2. So we know that x is equal to 10. And then based on this, if this is equal to 10, and this is the midpoint of one of the side lengths, we know that this length is going to be 20. So our answer is going to be 20 for this question. Since, let me draw it out. We have our triangle here, and then we have x, but this is also x down here, so they're both equal to 10. So when you sum them up, they're equal to 20, and that's the side length of the square. Question 25, which expression is equivalent to y plus 12 over x minus 8 plus y times x minus 8 over x squared times y minus 8xy? Okay, for this, what you're going to do, since there's only one denominator for all the answer choices, you're going to make a common denominator for the problem. So you're going to multiply this side by x minus 8 on the top and the bottom. But before you do this, you need to realize that this problem is actually equivalent to this right here. If we take out a y and an x, so we have xy, and then we have x minus 8. And we have common denominators for x minus 8, but we just need to multiply this whole side on the top and the bottom by xy. So once we do that, we're going to get xy squared plus 12x plus y, or xy minus 8y, over this full common denominator of x squared y minus 8xy. And if we look at our answer choices, we can simplify this, but the only question or answer choice with the same denominator is answer choice C. We'll simplify it just to make sure though. So we have in the numerator xy squared, and then we have I messed this up right here. This should be multiplied by xy by the whole thing, so it would be xy squared plus 12xy. So this would be 13xy minus 8y over x squared y minus 8xy. And that's your answer choice, option C. Okay, two more questions and we're done. The function f is defined by f of x is equal to a times 2.2x plus 2.2 to the b, 2.2 to the x, where a and b are integer constants and a 0 is less than a, which is less than b. The functions g and h are equivalent to function f, where k and m are constants. Which of the following equations displays the y-coordinate of the y-intercept of the graph of y is equal to f of x in the xy plane as a constant or a coefficient? Okay, so this is just a bunch of word vomit pretty much, but you got to pay attention to it. We'll break this down part by part. The functions g and h are equivalent to function f. So if they're equivalent, all this problem is asking for is the y-coordinate of the y-intercept as a constant or coefficient in these equations. So a constant would just be like plus m, and a coefficient would be like times a. So looking at this, our y-intercept of f would be when x is equal to 0. So f of 0 is equal to a times 2.2 to the 0 is 1 plus 2.2b. So 2.2b is really just a constant. So this is what our y-intercept would be. So if it were a constant, it would have to be m. If it was a coefficient, it would have to be a here. And if we look, a times 2.2 to the x plus k, well, k wouldn't represent the y-intercept here because that's only part of it. It needs to be 1 plus 2.2 to the b plus or times a. So this would just represent 2.2 to the b, not the whole y-intercept. And the a coefficient wouldn't represent the y-intercept either because it has to be multiplied with this, which isn't 1. And then we have option 2, h of x is equal to a times 2.2 to the x plus m. Well, m is a times 2.2 to the b. That's what it's equivalent to. And that isn't the full y-intercept because it's a, also it's a plus that. This would encapsulate the whole y-intercept, not just m. So neither of these answer choices work. So it's neither I nor II. Last question of the day. We have this equation over here. In the given equation, k is an integer constant. If the equation has no real solution, what is the least possible value of k? Well, if there are no solutions, we already know we're going to have to use our formula. B squared minus 4ac is less than 0. So we're going to distribute this to make it into quadratic form. We have kx squared minus 56x is equal to negative 16. So we get kx squared minus 56x plus 16 is equal to 0. Now we could use this and plug it into the formula up here. So b squared, our b is negative 56. And we get negative 56 squared minus 4 times a, which is k, times c, which is 16, and this is all going to be less than 0. So 16 times 4, or negative 4, is going to be negative 64. We move it to the right, and that's going to be positive 64, which is greater than 56 squared, or this is going to be 64k, sorry. And this is going to be 56 squared. We're going to use our calculator for that. 56 squared is equal to 3,000 136. Now we divide that by 64 and we get k is greater than 49. And it's saying what is the least possible value of k? And k is an integer constant. It needs to be greater than 49, so k is going to be equal to 50. And that's it for this episode on the channel. I hope you all learned something new and join me for practice test 10.